Yo, what's good, y'all? Life is strange here. Like, sub, do all that. But today we're rollerblading by the long intro. So anyway, DJ AKADEMIKS was reacting to more Cat Williams content, and topics such as self-sacrifice and HOLLYWEIRD practices were brought up. And y'all know that's right up my alley, no bowling. So let's dive right in. Okay, so we start with DJ AKADEMIKS explaining how speaking your truth in HOLLYWEIRD could lead to negative consequences.
It's kind of interesting. You know, sometimes when you hear people speak up, and this is the thing about speaking up when everybody's in his, I don't know where he is these days, but I'm salute to just for the saying, salute to what's his name, Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown had a saying which I this is exactly how the industry is. It's a go along, get along, or some of the sort, whatever the saying was. Basically meaning that people in the industry operate on, let's keep shit moving, let's not call shit out, because our checks are usually dependent on being able to go along and get along with the program. Then you enter someone like Cat Williams, who could be a disruptor. By the way, all disruptors, and I'm doing like a Dr. Umar 3 times in a row. Disruptors in many fields, if you know about them over time, they're great. I'll tell you who are a couple disruptors. Joe Budden's a disruptor. I know you might not like him. He's a disruptor. He's the person that will get on the set and they'll have an idea that is okay. And maybe for people who are new and people who don't know or who don't want to say, hey, that's corny, let's do this. In entertainment, speaking your mind is being disruptive. So if you don't get someone who says, hey, that's corny, that's not going to happen. Hey, get this nigga the fuck out of here. Let's get a pretty face in between two men. If we're going to have two men argue on camera, get that white man out of here. Get a beautiful black woman in between us. Hey, we're not going to do this once a week for 20 minutes. We want to do this every day for an hour. Fuck it. We're going to, hey, blah. That's how Everyday Struggle is born. That's how a disruptor makes some shit happen.
Man, I just know a lot of people at the top who have dirty secrets are doing everything in their power to conceal whatever it is they're hiding. But with how the internet moves and how accessible everything and everyone is, it's near impossible to hide shit nowadays. And if you haven't noticed, it felt like this whole year was just old icons getting roped for all the shady things they did in the past, when information wasn't as accessible. But I want to switch gears to Act talking about the creation of Everyday Struggle. I found it dope how he explained how Joe Budden pretty much single-handedly created one of the greatest hip-hop podcasts of all time. And it really is the little details that can change something from a bust to a hit. Imagine if Everyday Struggle was 20-minute episode and only once a week. And on top of that, there was a white man sitting between Ak and Joe instead of the island goddess herself, Nadeska. That just doesn't sound right, does it?
It's a disruptor, a person who says, hey, listen, no, you're not going to rap on this beat. I'm going to get you this. Matter of fact, I got these sped up soul samples, this and third. Matter of fact, you should really go with this, Very opinionated, hey, different style, blah, blah, blah. Helps craft some of the best albums ever, helps define some of the biggest beefs, also becomes one of the greatest artists of all time. That's Kanye West. That's a disruptor. I'm sorry. The person who in the room when you have white executives say, no, I think this would be a smash. And he says, yeah, I don't know culture. Let me tell you what's going on. And everyone's like, what? Somebody dare oppose us? No, you don't know shit. I'm going to tell you how it works. Matter of fact, shut the fuck up and listen to me. I know what's going on. That person gets a bad rap. Oh, he's hard to work with. He's an egomaniac. But he becomes Kanye West. Changes music. Defines a whole generation of sound. Kanye West. That's how it goes. Every disruptor is also seen and critiqued in the way you see Cat Williams. I'm not saying, oh, okay, everybody's Kanye West. I'm not saying Joe Budden's Kanye West neither. But when you see these disruptors, what the problem with the public is, this is a problem with the majority of people who are listening. The majority of fans are sheep. And I don't mean to disrespect it. I don't really even call y'all fans. But people who just blindly listen, sheep. I'm going to tell you why. For them, if they think you have credibility, they believe everything you say. If they think you have no credibility, they believe none of what you say. It's either 100 or 0. They never use their own discernment and their own minds to say, hey, This person has a batting average of 80, 90%. Anytime Kanye's told us some shit, maybe at times he's been tweaking a few times, but 80, 90% of the shit he done told us is true. Maybe if he says some shit, we're gonna listen. Nah, he's crazy, because he was wrong on two things. Okay. That's what's happening. So when I hear people like Cat Williams speak, when I hear people like Kanye, and people who would challenge the establishment, and when I say challenge the establishment, basically just say, hey, listen, because nigga, I'm obviously not in the film world, but for the access I've seen in the industry, you get a lot more opportunity when opportunity comes on your table and you says, yes, I'll take it.
Now, Axe said a lot here, and I want to break down as much as possible. Let's start with him talking about disruptors in the industry. I agree with the fact that certain people in the industry will get blackballed for going against the norm. One thing that really sold me on this was all the hate Cat got recently from Hollywood after the Club Shay Shay podcast. Like, look at everyone who was throwing hate at him. There are like a little group of entertainers that are bitter because they sold their souls for a check, and the truth about it is all coming out. But that's just my take. Another thing Act brought up in this clip that I wanted to have a discussion about, though, is people not using their own brain to form their opinions, instead relying on whoever at the moment is deemed the most credible. It just seems, especially with this generation, people are so quick to believe whatever they hear on the internet without doing their own research or putting any of their own logic into it, which I think is super important. For example, I love citing DJ AKADEMIKS and Adam22 for videos and a bunch of other podcasts as well, but one thing that I always make sure to do is just use a little bit of my own logic. Like with Ak and his recent ex-girlfriend situation, I'm obviously a supporter of Ak, as a lot of my videos relate to him, but I still know that everything this nigga says isn't always fact, and I know that this entire situation with his whole ex-girlfriend and everything was brought on completely by him, and I'd be naive to act like that is not the case. Use your brain, niggas. Don't believe everything these quote-unquote credible people say.
I could give you a personal story of mine, I'll tell you. So eager for opportunity and chances. When I first got my lawyer and we finally started having conversation with some of these bigger companies, the first thing that came to the table, I was so excited. I told my lawyer, say yes. My lawyer said, no, that's not how this works. I said, I was about to fire him. I need this. Just whatever they want, I'm saying yes to it. Get me there. I've been building this whole legacy, this whole fucking thing on my own. Finally, I could get one of these companies to be in bed with me. Pause. He says, no, that's not your worth. You're worth more than that. We're going to tell them no. Kick rocks. I'm looking at my lawyer. What? You're going to... What? What? You're going to... I start to think. I remember that night I went to sleep. I said, I think my own team sabotaging me. I thought that. They weren't. They knew more than I did at that time. I knew the path of least resistance to be a part of, or to be accepted, or for them to say, oh, good boy, Akademiks, we offered you the least amount we could ever offer a nigga like you. And you said, yeah, yes, give me, yes. That's the industry. It takes a lot of resolve to say no. It does. It takes having some footing under you. It takes having some backup money in the bank. It takes having some experience. It takes being there without them for you to do that. So when I watch someone like Cat Williams, I would never vouch for everything Cat Williams says. I do believe at times he's probably I won't say he's lying because he doesn't come across to me as a liar, but his remembering or his opinion of certain things might be skewed because he doesn't like someone and it's been a while. But do I think he's just lying a bunch of times? No. This is why when you watch his interview, I said it before, you got to learn how to parse through certain shit. Through certain shit he's saying but not expounding because Shannon Sharp didn't catch on to it and ask him to expound on it. But he dropped the hint. Now, does that mean because I said this, I think Kevin Hart's a fraud, I don't like Kevin Hart, blah, 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 I don't like Tiffany Haddish, I don't like it? No. The point is this. You see what Ice Cube just did? Because Ice Cube was put in a tough position. Ice Cube has been halfway letting the door, but not all the way. Go look at the big three. He just sued the NBA. You know why? He's halfway through the door. He ain't all the way through there yet. He was supposed to come in and try to go get minority ownership of a NBA team. That's the plight and that's the path of an Ice Cube. You were never to go create a potentially competitive league to the NBA. Whoa, what are you doing, sir? So he knows even what Cat's saying. Because when you become a disruptor, which that's what being a disruptor is. Before he starts the big three, you know what somebody probably said to him? Yeah, bro, you got 50 million or you got 50 million. We'll give you 2% of this NBA team. You be in the box all the time. You sit courtside whenever you want. You could tell people you own an NBA team, even though it's 2%. And you know what he said? I want to go make my own league. Wait, what do you mean make your own league? Like, there's one league. There's not two leagues. There's one league. I'm just making my big three league. Matter of fact, y'all old players that y'all think is done, we're going to get... What? So that's the reason why I think Ice Cube doesn't slam Cat Williams. Because Ice Cube has done it. He's just not the guy who goes on interview. He doesn't go on interviews and slam everybody. But Ice Cube is a disruptor as well. Ice Cube realized that after working or trying to work with the Biden administration for years, didn't Ice Cube say he was down to sit with Trump? Y'all remember that? Ice Cube, Trump. From NWA to MAGA. He takes some heat for working with them. He said, whoever is going to get us to the goal. Y'all don't remember this. The point I'm trying to tell you is that Ice Cube is a disruptor, just like many other people we've seen as disruptors. It takes a lot of balls to do it. You have to be in a unique position to do it. Because if you don't have the leverage and if you don't have the staying power to withstand that, they'll get you out of here and you'll never be heard from before. When I remember talking to Joe right when he was leaving Complex, everybody who was in the industry called me and said, Joe's a fucking idiot. No other company will ever fuck with him. A month later, I heard he's with Spotify. Wait, what the fuck? It's true. Now, here's the thing. I always tell people, don't follow the disruptors unless you're him. You know why? If it's podcasting and you're not Joe Budden, if it's making black films and you're not Tyler Perry or Ice Cube or Spike Lee or a few other people, but still, if it's comedy and you're not Dave Chappelle, they kick you to the curb. You're not needed. You need to be one of those people that are in such a powerful position that even though they don't want you there because you've been disrupted and fucking shit up, they got to deal with you. That is my goal completely forever. Just let them have to deal with you. That's it. Ice Cube answered this eloquently without disrespecting any comedian, without making anybody feel belittled. He basically said, yeah, Ricky Smiley, nigga, you could never be Money Mike. But he ain't say that. He said, thanks to all the comedians. You guys were great at what y'all did in that movie. Y'all helped so much. I hope that movie made y'all a lot of money in the future and helped y'all career go even further. What a class act. What a class act. But that's Cube. That's the guy who came a long way. He came from niggas with attitude, straight out of Compton. He came from all the way there to now he's in kids' movies. He made Fridays to now he's in kids' movies. His response is going to be very different from someone like Cat Williams. Cat Williams' response ain't going to be that happy. Cat Williams is going to have a little bit of vitriol to him because to him, if we're thinking about comedy and we're thinking about it like a sport, he believes in his heart of hearts he's funnier than all these niggas. He's done more tours than all these niggas. He's done more specials than all these niggas. But all these niggas get more opportunities than him because he doesn't play the game. And you might be like, well, just play the game. Well, he admitted he won't play the game. but he won't also be quiet and not expose the fact that other niggas is playing the game.
To all my creators here, y'all listening to Ak, I'm so glad Akademiks told this story about almost taking a bad deal at the first offer because he didn't know better and was down bad. I have a similar story like this about a rapper friend of mine who was extremely talented and could have signed to any record label if he believed in himself and waited a little longer to sign his first deal, but instead of that he signed to some shady record label because they were the first to reach out and gassed him to the point where he couldn't resist. How much did he get for the deal? Well, nothing. He did get a fake chain though, and he also had any chance of him making it big taken away. But the point is, if you're talented, believe in yourself, trust me. If I ever get big enough with this YouTube stuff, I'll make sure to remember that and never lowball myself. But something else I want to touch on before I leave is always make sure if you're going to disrupt something, make sure you build your leverage up, because without leverage, you have nothing. The reason that the industry cannot get rid of people like Akademiks and Cat Williams is because the demand for them is too high. When you provide something so high level, the people will always choose it, even if the industry is against it. But y'all let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. Shout out to Ak and Cat though. I'm out.